Tonight, actor Terrence Howard is under fire for calling legendary DC singer Marvin Gaye an alphabet warrior. Also, I'll give my 2 cents on why NFL owners want nothing to do with Shedeur Sanders. All that and more on episode number 122 of Up to Speed with Tripp Simpson.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Up to Speed with Tripp Simpson. I am your host, Tripp Simpson, in the building.
And you gonna get off his corners? You gonna leave his people be? Or you the one that's gonna find yourself a new plug?
You don't mean that shit?
The fuck I don't. I built this shit. Me. Brick by brick. And I'll be damned if I let you tear it down just because you don't like the way another nigga talk.
All right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And before we get this live stream started today, y'all know first and foremost, we got to handle business. Let's get it.
Family moving up in the business. I know you're going to look after family.
What family you talking about, Ice?
Fuck, I look invisible, nigga.
That's right. I'm not invisible, so do me a favor. If you're watching live on YouTube, X, Instagram, or Facebook, hit that like button and hit that share button for me, please. Also, don't forget to comment in the live chat below. By commenting on the live chat below and hitting the like button, you help us get this video further off into the algorithm. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get this show on the road, all right? Let's get this show on the road. I don't plan on being on with you guys too long tonight. Only really got 2 main things I want to talk about. And the first thing I want to talk about is this Terrence Howard interview that was on the Bill Maher podcast. Okay, so apparently the black community, especially those of us in the DC area, are in an uproar and are calling for the cancellation of Terrence Howard because he said Marvin Gaye was gay.
I got that thug in love.
No pun intended. Okay? And so he's under fire for saying that Marvin Gaye is gay and that he is refusing to play him in a biopic movie. Now, of course, nobody chose to actually read the articles with these crazy headlines saying these things about Terrence Howard, or so much as to even watch what he actually said in the 1-minute video clip that's been surfacing across online. But lucky for you guys, I have the clip right here. So what we're gonna do is, real quick, we're gonna check out exactly what Terrence Howard said, and then we'll move on. All right? Okay, and real quick, I see we got my man Guns and Cafe in the building tonight. And then we've got somebody named, I can't pronounce that, but they said they hate to see a confident black man. It's sad. Well, I mean, we'll talk about that tonight. I don't necessarily think that's the case, but I mean, we'll get into that. And if you like, at the end of the episode, I will post a link and I'll give you a chance to give your 2 cents if you disagree with me. But anyways, let's get into this Terrence Howard clip on the Bill Maher podcast. All right, how do I make this? All right, bam, there we go. All right, so here we go. Let's go.
But I'm asking Quincy, I'm hearing rumors that Marvin was gay. And I'm like, was he gay? And Quincy's like, yes.
Oh.
He went around it with everything, and I was like, no. And I'm like, I could not.
I just feel like there's gay for real, and there's a point where guys get so much they're just like, oh, it.
Yeah, well, it would have been that, but they would have wanted to do that, and I wouldn't have been able to do that.
Well, you mean you couldn't kiss a guy on screen in a movie?
No.
Not even, yeah.
No, because I don't fake it. I
Right.
literally, it has to.
I couldn't kiss a man either. That's true. And that does not.
That would me. I would cut my lips off.
Yeah. No, well,
I would.
okay,
if I kiss some man, I would cut my lips off.
Well,
All right, so there we have it. Now let's go back. As he says, Quincy Jones told him that Marvin Gaye was gay because he wanted to know why they wanted him to kiss a man in a movie. Let's play it one more time.
But I'm asking Quincy, I'm hearing rumors that Marvin was gay. And I'm like, was he gay? And Quincy's like, yes.
oh.
He went around it with everything, and I was like, no. And I'm like, I could not.
I just feel like there's gay.
So yeah, no need to play the whole thing again. But you guys get the point, right? So as you can see, there's actually context to what he's saying. He wasn't necessarily dissing Marvin Gaye. All right, he wasn't dissing Marvin Gaye, trying to talk bad on a dead man. Okay, apparently the producers of this movie wanted Terrence Howard to kiss a man, and he wasn't having it. Okay, and how can you blame him for that? How can you blame him for that? Why in the hell would a heterosexual man want to kiss another man in the mouth, acting or not acting? All right, obviously, this caught him by surprise because nobody knew Marvin Gaye was actually gay, and he had to ask Quincy Jones if it was even true. Okay, so why be mad at Terrence Howard? Okay, why not be mad at the producers of the movie? Okay, obviously Marvin Gaye, if he was actually going that way, didn't want that information out there. So why tarnish his name in this film if he isn't even here to defend himself? Okay, why? Also, I wonder what the estate of Marvin Gaye has to say about this as well. Anyways, we'll have to get more on this situation as it develops. Of course, we'll double back to it, but for right now, I want to go ahead and get to our main topic of the night. Like I said, I don't want to be here too long. I want to get to the Shedeur Sanders situation, and then we can move on. I'll take calls if anybody wants to call. But I gotta get my opinion out there on this because this fiasco, and that's what it is, a fiasco, has completely dominated all of sports coverage over the past few days. Now, in case you've been hiding under a rock the past few days, let me get you guys up to speed, okay? So Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders was skipped over in the first 4 rounds of the NBA draft and was finally selected at the 144th pick in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns. All right, now this came as a shocker to a lot of people because Sanders was slated to be the 2nd ranked quarterback in the draft by ESPN's draft expert, Mel Kiper. Okay? And on Mel Kiper's list, I think he was supposed to be number 2. Yes, ranked 2nd on Mel Kiper's list. All right, and he ended up being drafted 5th overall out of all the selected quarterbacks in the draft. Now, me personally, right? I never thought Shedeur Sanders was 1st or even 2nd round draft quality in the first place. I never thought he was. But then again, I live in the real world. But unfortunately, once again, the black community has decided to make what should be an obvious consequence to Shedeur Sanders' actions. They've turned that into the biggest racial injustice of all time.
Blood clot.
Now, honestly, just when I think we can't sink any lower, you niggas sink straight to hell. you go straight to hell. Just last week, the Austin Metcalf Carmelo Anthony story, right? You Negroes were out here trying to justify a first-degree murder based on an unofficial facts that you read randomly from people on Facebook. Now this week, you're claiming the NFL is racist in that they hate to see a strong black man make it, or something of that sort, right? I mean, you Negroes are just laughable at this point. You're laughable. All right, I want to show this one Facebook post, right, that's been going viral the past few days. And all the butthurt Negroes have been reposting it as if it actually proves anything. All right, so let's do this. Let's check that out real quick. And then, let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me get that up for you. Here we go. Where's this shit at? All right, this is what it is right here. All right, boom. Now let's read this. Let's read this. All right, it says, this was posted by a man named J. Donald Johnson, but I think he just reposted it because I've been seeing the same quote on a whole bunch of people's pages, like word for word. So let's go into what it says. It says, let me go ahead and say what some of y'all are too scared or too conditioned to say out loud. The NFL draft proved yet again that when it comes to confident, brilliant, self-possessed black men, the system still prefers you quiet, grateful, and deferential. Shedeur Sanders not going in the first round wasn't about stats. It wasn't about ability. It was about optics. It was about the new generation of unapologetically black athletes who ain't waiting for validation, contracts, or a pat on the head. Shedeur is the blueprint. He's got his father's swagger and his own receipts. But instead of honoring that, legacy media painted him with a predictable brush. Arrogant, entitled, nepotistic. Now, I gotta stop right there because that's false. The legacy media is actually kissing Shedeur Sanders' ass. They're actually feeding into the racism story. All right, so that's false right there. All right, let's continue. Then it says, let's talk about this anonymous NFL coach who said he needs to be humbled. Humbled for what? For not shucking and jiving? For walking in his purpose like he knows it's divine? When Brady flexed, y'all called it greatness. When Peyton took charge, it was leadership. But Shedeur, nah, he gotta be checked. The code is clear. If you black and confident, you're a problem. Now let me stop right there. Right? Because that statement right there is ridiculous. Okay, first of all, Brady won 7 Super Bowl rings. Okay? Peyton Manning was the best quarterback in the NFL, best rating for years in a row, right? They've gotten to the point in their careers where they could, and I don't even remember them actually doing half of the things that Shedeur Sanders have done. But whatever this guy's saying, just to play devil's advocate to this post, I'm going to assume that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady did some arrogant things. I don't know. But anyway, Shedeur Sanders hasn't accomplished anything in his football career. Anything. His career as a Power 5 quarterback isn't all that great. So what has he actually accomplished? This guy's literally going into the NFL draft like he's Mike Vick coming out of Virginia Tech. And he's not. He hasn't accomplished anything. But he's trotting around the combine, not doing the drills, giving half-ass interviews like he's got the shit in the bag. And as far as him standing on his purpose and all this other shit, man, this dude walks around like he's a trap rapper from 2006. He literally dresses like 06 Gucci Man everywhere he goes. How does this represent black men in a positive way? Well, maybe I'm crazy. Anyway, let's continue. Let's continue. Anyways, And it says, and while we're calling it out, let's not ignore how they overshadowed Travis Hunter, the number 2 overall pick in the entire damn draft, by plastering headlines about his father being on probation and needing court permission to attend. What is that? What is that? Why is that the story? Not his grind, not his impact, not his history, but the stereotype. Unfortunately, he fit the stereotype. It is what it is. Unfortunately, if your father has to get permission from the police to come see you get drafted, unfortunately, that's going to be a story. It is what it is. Then it says the system could have at least let him celebrate. The system. I love how to use these words. The system could have let him celebrate without reminding the world of a court record, as if that has anything to do with his success. That ain't a mistake. That's strategy. That's control. But here's what really stings. The way some of our own jumped on the humble him bandwagon. Some of y'all been conditioned so long by struggle that you confuse generational success with weakness. Shedeur didn't grow up in trauma, didn't have to claw his way out of poverty, and now he's too privileged. That's not critique, that's projection. He's the product of intentional parenting, of black legacy, of a father who did the work so his kids wouldn't have to bleed for their brilliance. And instead of clapping for that, too many of y'all are mad he didn't come from your same pain. Truth is, some of y'all don't recognize greatness unless it limps in, bruised and broken, telling a survival story, and that's sad. Let me be real. Shedeur doesn't need to be humbled. Travis doesn't need to be reduced. Dion doesn't need to be palatable. Y'all need to heal. Heal from thinking struggle is the only legitimate origin story. Healing from believing that confidence is arrogance. Heal from the addiction to suffering that makes you resent anyone who walks in freedom you never had. Because Shedeur is him. Travis earned that spot. And Dion, he's been telling y'all since the 90s, look good, feel good, play good. And for those still in their feelings, let me spell it out. You don't hate their confidence. You hate that it exposes your insecurities. So keep talking, keep doubting, keep trying to humble what was born to shine. Meanwhile, they'll keep rewriting the narrative and building a table so big your hate won't even be heard from it. This has got to be some of the stupidest shit I've ever read in my life. It's got to be some of the dumbest shit I've ever read in my life. And unfortunately, your average black person probably agrees with this nonsense. And it's not just these random ass people on Facebook and on the internet making these type of posts. All your favorite black race grifters and your hip hop gatekeepers, they're all coming out the woodworks with claims of racism and hatred from the NFL. All right, real quick, I want to go to Umar Johnson first. Let's see what Umar Johnson had to say. Let's go to Umar. All right, so here's what Umar had to say. Umar says, it's obvious that either the NFL commissioner or the team owners has a private Klan meeting and decided to ruin this young man's draft day experience. They're jealous of his father and are intimidated by the fact that this young man has an NFL legend as his main advisor and mentor. White supremacy. This was an old-fashioned lynching. So according to Umar Johnson, this was an old-fashioned lynching, even though Shedeur Sanders still made millions of dollars from signing with the Cleveland Browns. Umar Johnson calls this a lynching. All right, now he made another post. Let's get to his other post. He made another post. Where's that at? Let's see if we can find it. Says, white racism. Sanders undrafted in the first round. Hold your head, King. I know you're going to give him hell when you get to the league this summer. That's no way to treat a kid. First of all, he's a grown-ass man. He's a grown-ass man. He's not a kid. He's 23 years old. As a matter of fact, he's probably one of the older people coming out of the draft at 23. Matter of fact, I think the oldest person coming out may be his brother, who didn't get drafted, who's 25. Shedeur Sanders is 25. Right, so Dion already got grown ass men playing college football. That's crazy enough, but we'll get into that. All right, but the thing about Umar though, I have to give some of his followers credit. I got to give some of them credit because a lot of them were pushing back against this whole narrative that this is racism, right? A lot of them will call him BS. All right, let's read some of the comments. Let me make this bigger so y'all can see. Let's read some of Umar Johnson's comments, all right? So one person says, racism has nothing to do with this. Of course, I commented, I said 28 out of the first 32 people in the draft were black, all right? Then another person says, black men went top 3, Unc. Then another person says, the first draft pick was black. And another person says, so it's white racism all because one black player wasn't selected in the first round? LOL. Another person says, Umar, I love you, bro, but the kid is not NFL talent. He's just not. We got to stop playing the race card with every situation. Every NFL team is not racist. He is not a first round draft pick. All right? So yeah, as you can see, everybody on Umar's page wasn't crazy. I want to move on to, we got next 19 Keys. I want to go to 19 Keys post. All right, let me pull that up. So here's what 19 Keys had to say. I think he did like 2 posts on this. Let's get to his first one. So 19 Keys says, oh, let me see if I can see that. All right, boom. All right, so 19 Keys says, this ain't just about talent, it's about control. Shedeur Sanders wasn't passed on because he lacked skill. He wasn't overlooked because he couldn't lead. He's being used as a message sent not to him, but to his father. And through his father, to every black man who dares to break the system without asking first. This is narrative correction disguised as draft strategy. Wow, okay. Narrative control is how systems maintain soft power without open conflict. If they can't break your talent, they'll mute your platform. If they can't discredit your wins, they'll deny your reward. If they can't defeat your energy, they'll isolate your example. But because once one sovereign success becomes visible, the people realize they were never locked out. They were locked in. Gatekeeping is the last move of a system on the verge of losing control. And the more they suppress sovereign success, the more people awaken to build outside of it. You can't stop what's already in motion. You can only delay what's instead. More foolishness, bro. This guy just tweet after tweet of nothing. No facts, no logic, no reasoning, just raw emotion. Raw emotion and claims that can't be validated. Claims that can't be validated and statistically make no sense. All right, he also did a video. I'm gonna play the video. Let's play his video.
Peace family, 19 Keys tapping in with you one time.
This whole Shedeur Sanders situation brings up a very pivotal point and powerful lesson that we seem to never understand about the circumstances of white America. And I seen Gilly talking about this. He say, they need to constantly remind you that you a nigga. They need to essentially always bring your status down, right? And number one, you're not a nigga, but I understand what he's saying, right? They need to keep you locked into this idea that is their world, not yours, right? The whole idea of white privilege is that they have privileges that you don't have. They can do things that you can't do. They own the systems. They control the systems. That's all it is. The reality of it is they never want to create this idea of black privilege, right? Nepotism, right? To where you have this sovereign thought process, to where you can break the rules and create your own type of success, because that creates a narrative in the heads of young children, right? And men, and they know how we get inspired when we see.
Listen to this reach. Listen to this reach. Listen to this shit. All this over a football draft where the majority of the players who were drafted, including the number 1 pick for quarterback, was black. But listen to all this shit.
Storytelling is the most powerful thing, right? That a black father who was a Hall of Fame, right, rose to prominence and brought his sons up, and his son is able to go in there as a first-round draft pick, right, and conquer the NFL on his own terms. That storytelling is very powerful, but it's also very dangerous to their business. Because their business is all based on your insecurities. You're going to take less when you think less of yourself. When you think more of yourself, right, then you require more. And so this idea that we haven't learned is the fact that if we don't control the system needs to control us. And that's why regardless of what happens, if you don't create parallel systems, you will lose. That no matter how nice somebody may be to you, no matter how much somebody might smile in your face, they will never recognize you as equal or superior, right? Because the narrative always has to be that you are less than, right? And so anytime somebody believes that, oh, you overthinking it, no, you're not thinking at all. Hypervigilance is what allows you to stave off any brainwashing or any psyops. If you're not hypervigilant in your thinking and always looking for these threats, especially in America, then you will lose. Because time at the time.
Listen to what this man just said. If you're not always looking for threats in America, you will lose. Bro, America is a meritocracy. America is a capitalism above all society. If you're worried about threats of a group of people who we already lost the game 70, 80 years ago, bro. Matter of fact, we lost the game hundreds of years ago when our own people sold us over here as slaves. We already lost the game. It's a new game at this point. That old game, nobody's even on that. We've already lost that game. And he's talking about identifying threats. The only threat that you have as a black man in America is the mindset that this wicked culture has put you in. I'm listening to this man talk on and on and on because his favorite player's son didn't go first in the draft. All I hear is victim mentality. All I hear is the mindset of a victim. He looks like he's really about to cry over this dumb shit. And it's just a game. This is the problem. It has nothing to do with NFL owners not wanting a jackass to be the number 1 representation of their team. And no offense to Shedeur Sanders, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, he carries himself in the public like a jackass. He definitely does. And all this man can do is sit up and try to make himself make us all victims when we're not victims. When there was 28 other black men in the NFL draft that went in the first round that are now instant millionaires. But for some reason, because the guy you like, and the guy the culture, the hip hop culture, the nigga culture tells us is our guy because he acts like a nigga when he wants to act like a nigga. It's racist because he didn't get picked in the first round. But we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna let him keep going. Let's go.
Time at the time again, we have been proven to be right. That our suspicions were 100% correct. That there is somebody manufacturing a reality, social engineering these ideas to keep us in what's considered to be our place. But there's something that happens with us, right? We will not allow ourselves to stay in place. Even those who have rose into prominence in ways that I probably wouldn't consider to be the greatest, they all are realizing the same thing, that you're living in a world that is not your own and your money means nothing. It's all about your status. There was a time, if you go back to 7-Eleven and you go back to Spain when the Moors had conquered Europe.
Here we go with the Moors. It never fails, bro. Now we're talking about some shit from 700 years ago. No, almost 1,000 years ago. Almost 1,000 years ago. No, wait a minute. My math might be off. It's 2025. The year 700. Yeah, 1,400, almost 1,400 years ago. From the year 700. He's talking about go back to the year 711. This is, what are you niggas talking about, bro? Let's go.
How did they do it? They did it by being indispensable, number one. They didn't just do it by going over there with guns and bullets and violence. They controlled things. They controlled systems of knowledge and medicine, right? They controlled the sciences and things of that nature. That's your history, right? They set up councils to where they had power. They were the ones who told the story. But they weren't greedy in the sense that they needed to conquer all of Europe. They were happy, right, with what they had taken over there, and their influence has spread across the world. That's how we are. We are people of influence, right? We are people that can control media, but we have not been intentional about that, right? And when we see this black excellence of somebody rising into position, right, we often think that that's success. And that's why the most dangerous narrative to tell us is that black excellence is progress, when it is only power, it is only ownership, it is only control, right? If we are not the ones in control in the ownership seats, it don't matter who is on the floor playing the game. That's the power. So now we're working at this point in time, in this juncture in time, the only solution is to create parallel systems that we own and or control. Whether that's in the NBA, whether that's in the NFL, whether that's in media, the deals, no matter if somebody gets $100 million deal, that don't matter, right? It doesn't matter what one individual does. The only thing that matters is how the collective wins, right? If we're not creating the jobs, if we're not controlling the economy.
All right, let me stop him right there. Because this has got to be one of the biggest crocs of shit I've heard so far about this Shedeur Sanders situation. Now, how can you seriously sit up here and defend Shedeur Sanders and then start preaching about coming together and starting all black institutions and infrastructures when him and his daddy literally shitted on all that bullshit you talking about 2 years ago when they abandoned Jackson State University? Deion spent all that time talking all that shit in press conferences about getting HBCUs together and doing this and doing that and doing for your own. And as soon as he got offered some money to go to a Power 5 white school, he went and did it. But now you're trying to flip the script and tell me that these niggas could have been our heroes if only his son would have been drafted in the first round? Bro, we got to stop giving our attention to these grifters, bro. They sit back and they get paid and they sell you crap that you don't need based on making narratives around social situations, right? Race-based narratives around social situations that don't even exist. Him, Dr. Umar, all these niggas, man, that's all they do. He just went on, babbled on, I don't know, 5 minutes, saying nothing. All this stuff about the collective. Deion and his son are the ones that abandoned the black community. And listen, I'm not even saying I blame them, because I would have took the money too. But I'm not sitting up here preaching, talking about I'm trying to save you niggas, because I'm not. I know I can't save you. The only person that can save you is Jesus. That's it. Can't no man save you. Jesus, if you're a Muslim, go holler at Allah. Whatever your religion is, go get saved through that. I mean, I can honestly say, right, with the utmost confidence, that Deion Sanders nor Shedeur Sanders are actually interested in building anything black specific. And honestly, like I said, I can't blame them for that. But what we're not going to do is sit up here and try to act like Shedeur and Deion Sanders are victims of white capitalism, when if it weren't for white capitalism, he would he'd still be, to this day, a broke ass nigga with a Jerry curl from Fort Myers, Florida. to this day. But let's get back to 19 Keys. Let's get back to 19 Keys. Look how silly this Negro sounds. Acting like Shedeur Sanders was about to become the black messiah if only he was drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. I got a question. I got a serious question for you niggas, for real. What exactly is it about Shedeur Sanders that leads you to believe he actually stands for something? Is it the big ass $ chain? Is it that? What profound knowledge has he bestowed upon the public to the point where the NFL has to take him down? The powers that be have to take him down. What has he done? Don't hold your breath because it doesn't exist. This little nigga can barely speak English. Okay? Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Y'all keep saying that the NFL don't want to see a successful black man. The NFL don't want to see a confident black man. The NFL don't want him because he refused to conform to the white power structure or whatever kind of nonsense you want to flip this into. But the NFL ain't got no issues with confident black men who stand for shit. The proof is in the pudding. Look at Jim Brown, for example, right? So it ain't got nothing to do with being a black man. The NFL doesn't have anything against black men. The NFL isn't interested in showcasing an ignorant, arrogant ass nigga. That's what it is. The NFL is not interested in showcasing an ignorant, arrogant ass nigga. Have y'all not realized the woke era in America is over? It's over. The nigga shit is over. Okay? I think Kendrick Lamar sealed the deal with that piss poor Super Bowl performance. All right, the last thing the owners of the NFL want is to end up like the god-awful NBA. The god-awful NBA where the inmates are running the goddamn asylum. It doesn't work. This season, the NBA had its lowest ratings of all time. Viewership was like down 20% this year. The past 4 NBA finals, they've had the lowest ratings in 30 years. All right, the overall viewership has dropped like almost 50 years since 2012. So yeah, the NFL understands that it has a brand to keep up. So I get it. All that nigga shit, take that shit over to the NBA. If you're gonna be a top paid quarterback and represent my team, you can't be on no nigga shit. Unless you got an arm like John Elway and jets like Michael Vick. And Shedeur Sanders doesn't have either one. If you got an arm like Michael Vick and, you got an arm like Elway and jets like Michael Vick, we can make an exception, okay? We can make an exception. But unfortunately, Shedeur just isn't that talented, and that's the truth. Now, what do I mean by nigga shit? Well, look no further than his 5th round draft, okay? 5th round draft selection celebration party that he threw, okay? I'm gonna post a picture from that. Give me a second. All right. So that's the picture. That is the picture Let me see if let me blow this up. All right, so boom. That's Shedeur Sanders at his draft Cleveland Browns celebration party. All right. Holding a Louis Vuitton box filled with cash and a big ass $ chain around his neck. All right. Let's read the caption. The caption says, Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders throws a massive party last night. He was showing off his Louis Vuitton bags and they were filled with cash. He also rapped and performed. Rappers Kodak Black and Young Miami were in attendance. So if I'm running an NFL team, you mean to tell me my star quarterback, who I'm paying 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 million to, is also a trap rapper? Right? This is what I got to put up with if I'm paying this man hundreds of millions of dollars. Mind you, rap culture, I mean, just look at the results. It's a new rapper dying every month. But I got my quarterback, who I'm investing the future of my franchise in. This is where his mind is at. This is my quarterback. And you niggas talking about he's walking in his truth? What truth? He's a nigga. He's bojangling. What truth is he walking in? I don't understand you people, bro. I mean, literally, look at this shit. What does this have to do with being a strong black man? What does this have to do with being an outspoken black man? What system is he bucking? Okay, this nigga is literally dressed like 06 Gucci Mane with a Louis Vuitton case full of cash and rapping. Okay? All this after being selected as the 144th pick in the draft. You would think after getting hit with a humbling moment like that, he would say, you know what? Maybe this is all too much. Let me just go home and start thinking about my future, which way I want to go, and start getting focused. Nope, that's not what he does. First thing he does is he throws a party and has a rap performance. That's the first thing he does. So off the break, no awareness. He doesn't even get the lesson that the NFL was trying to teach him. He don't even understand that. You're a 5th round quarterback, my dude. That cash in that box, you need to go put in the bank, bro. Go put that back in the bank. That necklace around your neck, go send that back to the jeweler and get your $500,000 back. Because you're going to need it. You're a 5th round pick, meaning, what is he going to be, 4th string quarterback? He's fighting from 4th string. 4th string. You gotta be out 2 other guys just to get on the team. And you're a 5th round pick, meaning they don't have to pay you that much. But this is the first thing you go and do. I'm telling you, bro, this is a spit in the face to the young men like Cam Ward and even Travis Hunter, who actually worked hard to get where they are and represent themselves in an acceptable manner. Right? And here's dumbass Shedeur putting on a rap show. But this is the victim y'all been crying about for the past 3 days. This is the victim. Okay? And it's no secret at this point that all his interviews went poorly. Okay? Probably because he can't speak English. And then he had the nerve to not participate in the combine drills as if he just had the shit in the bag. And then to top it all off, pause.
I got that style.
Pause. To top it all off, he goes and says this at a press conference. Let's get to that press conference. Give me a second. This is what he had to say the day of the combine.
That's the
All right. This is what he had to say the day of the combine.
That's the plan. If that's not what you're trying to do, don't get me. If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't get me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over. And I've done it over and over and over. So it should be no question why NFL franchise should pick me.
Do y'all hear that? Do y'all hear that? And he says, and I quote, "I've done it over and over and over again." Bro, what have you done exactly? You went 4-8 your first year at a Power 5 school, and you won 9 games your second year. Okay? Throughout your entire career, you've beaten only one significantly ranked team. One. And you got the nerve to say some shit like this at the combine. People, I'm gonna play this one more time. I'm gonna play this one more time. Because this really has to sink in. Listen to this.
That's the plan. If that's not what you're trying to do, don't get me. If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't get me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over. And I've done it over and over and over. So it should be no question why NFL franchise should pick me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this right here was the nail in the coffin for all of his draft hopes. That was the nail in the coffin right there. Everyone around him, especially his dad, has had this young man in a sad state of delusion. Okay? I wouldn't want this little nigga nowhere near my organization if I was an NFL owner, coach, GM, whatever. So yeah, Shedeur did this to himself for sure. He did this to himself. Now, what I want to do real quick is I want to show y'all some more of the delusional takes from other voices, this time in the hip hop culture, okay? And the reason I want to do that is because I really kind of want to bring things home. Okay? I want to bring things home. I want to bring things on in. I want to bring this point home. Okay, that I want to make tonight. And that's the reason that most of you Negroes are upset at the NFL. That's the reason most of you Negroes are upset at the NFL, because our culture is headed by nigger culture. And by nigger culture, I mean hip hop culture. And seeing nigger culture get rejected makes the leaders of the culture feel some type of way. This is why you think they're doing something to you, when in actuality, what the NFL is doing is sending a message to nigger culture. All right? And I already clarified what that means. By nigger culture, I mean hip hop culture. I mean this culture that black men have been brainwashed into thinking should be their way of life since the early 1990s. All right, so let's get to the first example, which is going to be Gilly the Kid. This is what Gilly the Kid had to say about the Shedeur Sanders situation.
Right? Sometimes you get to all my folks out there, right? I just want y'all to know that when you're a black man in America, right, sometimes you get reminders. You know what I mean? As a successful black man in America, I often get reminders. And in the Shedeur Sanders situation, this is just a reminder that you can do everything right in life. You can come from a good family. You could be a good student.
I don't want to stop him right there, because you got to watch some of the verbiage that they're using. I keep hearing them say he's done everything right in life. How do we know he's done everything right in life? His father has given him everything that he's ever earned, including, like I just read the other day, Deion Sanders had Shedeur Sanders' jersey retired at the University of Colorado. How does is Cordell Stewart's jersey even retired? I gotta look that up, because I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Cordell Stewart was the greatest quarterback to ever come out of Colorado. Is his shit retired? Let me look that up real quick before we move on. I really got to know this. Let me see. Is Cordell Stewart's jersey retired at Colorado? Here we go. His number is not retired. His number is not retired. So Shedeur Sanders' number at Colorado is retired and not Cordell Stewart. That is a travesty. That is a travesty. All right, now let's continue with this Gilly shit. Let's go.
Student, you could be a God-fearing kid. You could be a hard worker. You could beat the odds. Your dad could be a Hall of Fame player, and you can beat the odds, because not too many Hall of Fame players have good kids. So you can beat the odds. You can beat, he ain't his daddy. You can beat all of that growing up. But you still get a reminder that you just a nigga, man. That's it. You just a nigga. We sitting here looking at a public execution going on right in front.
A public execute, bro. Bro, they acting like this nigga really just got hung by the Ku Klux Klan or something, bro. Look at this shit.
On our eyes. Where it's like, we just gotta remind you, you just a nigga. There's no other way to look at it. There's a lot of black analysts on TV, but they gotta keep it corporate. They can't say what it is. They gotta keep it cooking. I just think this is unbelievable. It's just, no, sometimes as a black man in America, you get reminded that you just a nigga. Don't matter how much work you put in, don't matter. None of that don't matter. You gotta understand.
I gotta stop him, because see, this is what I'm talking about. This is hip hop culture, once again, poisoning your mind. It does matter how much work you put in. If you put in work in America, keep your nose clean, pay your taxes, present yourself in a professional manner, you can pretty much make it anywhere you want to go. All right, I do half of that shit. And I was just in Dubai last week in rooms that a lot of you niggas will never ever be in. And I'm not bragging about it. I'm just saying, I didn't get to that point in my life acting like a nigga everywhere I go. Sometimes you got to talk a little better. Sometimes you got to be professional. Sometimes you have to dress the part. So, you know what? I do agree with Gilly. If you act like a nigga, they're going to remind you that you a nigga. Because if you act like a nigga around me, and we supposed to be in a professional setting, I'm going to remind you, bro, you a nigga. Stop acting like a nigga. Let's get this bag. What are you doing? But it's the hip hop culture. You're not supposed to switch up how you act. You're just always supposed to be a nigga all day, every day. Because the people that they got you looking up to, they can do that. A rapper like Gilly, he doesn't have to ever act professional. His career, his job is to be a nigga, which is a rapper. Rappers get to be niggas all day. They get to smoke weed on camera. They get to drink all day. They get to pop pills. They get to have all the baby mamas they want. They get to do that because it's part of their persona. And unfortunately, it's that same persona that has affected young men like Shedeur Sanders, thinking that that persona is the way to get ahead in America. And unfortunately, it's not. It's not.
I arrived at a hotel in Boston, right? And I get to the front desk and I say, is there any way I could get a suite? And this lady look at me and she say, I'm sorry. She didn't press one button. She says, I'm sorry, it's no suites in the building. They're all sold out. As she's saying it, a white man is walking out the back and she say, Gilly, oh man, I love you. Man, I love what you do for the community, man. You're a great guy. She hand me my room key. I get up to my floor. When the elevator opened, the white guy's on my floor. And he says, Gilly, I don't know why she told you there's no suites available. Every suite in the building is open, Gilly. Come back downstairs, man. We're going to put you in a suite. But it was just a reminder that you just a nigga. That lady looked at me and said, there's no suites. Before I make this hotel thousands of dollars, I would rather your black ass not be in a suite.
For some strange reason, bro, he's not telling the whole story. Like, okay, when you walked in the hotel, did you smell like marijuana? Were you with a bunch of niggas? Were you loud? Were you obnoxious? Nah, I don't want to do that to Gilly. I'm not going to assume that that's what he was doing, but I'm just saying, like, normally when niggas start complaining about they didn't want to serve me, I mean, bro, it's how you presented yourself, man. It's how you presented yourself. But I don't know. Who knows? Let's get on. Let's move on. I want to go to Rick Ross's thoughts. Let's go to Rick Ross. This is what he had to say.
Barry Jackson, salute. Now, fresh off of FaceTime with Craig Jackson, Barry Jackson, salute. Now, back to this draft. Me wanting to one day possibly be a small percentage owner in an NFL team. I'm sitting back, I'm asking myself what's going on. Of course, I was a huge fan of Shedeur, still is, forever will be. Huge fan of Coach Prime. Energy, positive, drive. What are we afraid of here, NFL? I just want to know, me possibly being a small percentage owner in the future, what's going on here? What's going on? Like, just y'all DM me what y'all think going on. Is there fear of social currency, power? Is it? Do they feel the connection from college to the?
I'll just go ahead and say it. You know what the NFL fears, but they're never going to say it. They fear exactly what we should fear as black people, even though it might be too late. All you have to do is look at the lifespan of hip hop and then look at every relevant socioeconomic statistic in the black community and look at how that genre of music, as it gains popularity, look at our socioeconomic statistics. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see the consequences of that music and that culture on black society. So if it ruined black society, and that's maybe ruined is strong terminology, but I will say it's a symptom of the destruction of black society. Why would any corporate entity want to fully take that on? Why would they want to? Granted, it's probably not even that serious with the NFL. The teams probably just heard Shedeur talking, was like, oh, he's an idiot. Then he doesn't even want to do the workouts. Like, this guy's not even trying. Like, we don't want him. That's probably as simple as that. But subconsciously, black people, we're the only ones that think nigga shit is acceptable. No other culture wants to be around that shit unless you're talking about the poorest of the poor. So yeah, the poorest whites, the poorest Latinos, the poorest Asians, they're gonna act like niggas. But we're the only group that glorifies it. Like, our top tier people are niggas. Damn, I hate to say that. But it's the truth. Our top tier, well, a lot of our top tiers these days, I'll say from 2010 on, all of our top tier niggas are niggas. The days of intellectuals and, like, you know, those type of black folks, I mean, we still have them, but, like, they're not put to the forefront. We don't listen to them. We listen to niggas. We listen to Gilly D. King. We listen to Rick Ross. We listen to niggas. And there's nothing brilliant about any of these niggas. They can rhyme words. That's it.
NFL and the possible influence. Me being a business owner, I'm looking at it from both sides. As if I was an owner, what would an owner feel? Would it be the possible influence of Coach Prime being the greatest coach in college, then possibly being the agent and
the greatest coach? But this nigga's high, bro. He's high. He's high. What is he talk? Coach Prime, the greatest coach in college. He's coached 2 seasons at a Power 5 university. He's lost more games than he's actually won. And you're calling this man the greatest coach in college football? Like, what the hell are we talking about here? This is why nobody takes it seriously, man. Let's go.
And father, possibly maybe one day the greatest quarterback in the NFL. What is it? I just want to know, and I'm looking at it from different sides. Should he have?
He says he's looking at it from different sides. He just literally made up facts that are not facts. He just literally said, what is it about the greatest college coach ever, and what could have been the greatest quarterback in NFL history? I'm looking at it from both sides. What are you talking? Both sides of what? Nigga, you high.
Still been undrafted in the 5th round? Of course not. Stop. He'll sell more Nike socks than those other people, y'all. Stop. His Ethica underwear sell more than these people jerseys who y'all. So if it's about business, it's about money. What is it really about? What is it really about?
And like I said, no clue. This nigga has no clue. No clue. And I doubt after this speech they ever let this man buy anything into an NFL franchise. Now I want to get to the last one, and this one might take the cake. This is Vic Mensa. All right, let's hear what Vic Mensa had to say.
Shedeur Sanders and likability. Do the team owners like him as a person? Well, that's an unwinnable game, to be likable to someone that doesn't like black people. We got enough magazine articles about Jerry.
See what I'm saying? Unsubstantiated alternative facts, bro. How do you just off the break say they don't like black people? How do you? There's no proof of that. There's no proof of that. Let's go back.
Shedeur Sanders and likability. Do the team owners like him as a person? Well, that's an unwinnable game, to be likable to someone that doesn't like black people. We got enough magazine articles about Jerry Jones' racist comments behind closed doors to know how they really feel. Just because they profit from the labor of black people doesn't mean they like them. The line between arrogant and charismatic is one of perception. People don't see the world the way it is, they see the world the way they are. It's enough to see the way they feel about Obama. They call Obama the Antichrist. I think we can all agree Obama is about as likable of a nigga as you will find.
I don't like Obama, but anyway.
Drone strikes in Syria removed. Like when he dropped that 3-pointer in front of his whole entourage and walked out the gym. And look, I don't want people getting in my comments bashing all white people. I don't care if you yellow, red, blue, or green. If you anti-racist, we on the same team. You can't dismantle the master's house using the master's tools. Now, when it comes to the NFL, the slavery parallels are abundant. 70% of the players are black, 90% of the owners are white. They putting these niggas in their drawers on examining blocks in the combine and looking in their ears and shit. When we criticize capitalism, it's because of the imbalance between labor and ownership. The imbalance between labor and ownership. But I gotta say, I love Shedeur's smile through all this bullshit. And I'm glad he came in with such a confident demeanor, letting his nuts hang. Jack Johnson had to really tweak with their ass. Muhammad Ali had to really tweak with him for Floyd to be able to own his entire ecosystem and clean up. Cause it's always, ain't nobody bigger than the program. Try taking the black players out the program. Shit gonna look like a racquetball tournament.
Okay. All right, so that's Vic Mensa. Another waste of air. So, yeah. Before I get into my thoughts on the huge L that hip-hop, aka nigger culture, has taken as a result of this Shedeur Sanders debacle, I want to first go over some undeniable facts that prove that, at least on the surface, the NFL cannot be called racist. Okay? I repeat, at least on the surface, the NFL cannot be called racist. Now, I want to bring your attention to the NFL website. All right? And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the first 32 picks of the NFL draft. Number 1, Cam Ward, a black man, quarterback. Number 2, Travis Hunter, a black man, cornerback / wide receiver, who also played on the same team as Shedeur Sanders. Number 3, Abdul Carter. Number 4, a white guy, Will Campbell. Number 5, a white guy, Mason Graham. Number 6, a black guy, Ashton Genty. Number 7, another black man, Armand Mmubu, whatever that says. Another black man at number 8, Tetoria McMillan. Another black man at number 9, Kelvin Banks Jr. I don't know if this guy's black or not. We'll give him a half. We'll give him a half black. Colston Loveland. Number 11, Michael Williams, a black man. Number 12, a black man, Tyler Booker. Number 13, a black man, Kenneth Grant. Number 14, a white guy, Tyler Warren. Number 15, a black man, Jalen Walker. Number 16, a black man, Walter Nolan. Number 17, another black man, Shamar Stewart. Number 18, Gary Zabel, a white man. Number 19, a black man, Emeka Egbuka. Number 20, another black man, Jahdae Barron. Number 21, another black man, Derek Harmon. Number 22, another black man, Omarion Hampton. Number 23, another black man, Matthew Golden. Number 24, another black man, Donovan Johnson. Number 25, a white guy, Jackson Dart. Number 26, another black guy, James Pierce Jr. Number 27, another black guy, Malachi Starks. Number 28, another black man, Tyleek Williams. You know he black. Number 29, another black man, Josh Connerly. Number 30, another black man, Maxwell Hairston. Number 31 and 32, Jahad Campbell and Josh Simmons, both black men. Both black men. All right? So there we have it. 26 and a half out of the first 32 picks were black. Okay? With the number 1 spot going to Cam Ward, a black quarterback who also skipped combine drills, but did an exceptional job with his team interviews. So what's crazy is that ultimately 16 out of the 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL currently are black. So out of the 16 starting quarterbacks that are black in the NFL, and the 26.5 black men that were selected in the first round of the draft, are they all coons and sellouts? Is that how they got drafted? Are they all coons and sellouts? What's the logic here? How do you honestly, logically, rationally, and factionally conclude that the NFL is racist despite all this verified information just because Shedeur Sanders wasn't picked in earlier rounds? The answer is that you can't. All you can do is give a long, drawn out, emotionally driven opinion of your estimations that can't be reasonably validated. And this is why black men are often taken as a joke sometimes, because black society is disproportionately matriarchal and it refuses to let the black man grow up. It refuses to let a black man grow up, be a man, and take accountability. It's always a bunch of whataboutism when it comes to us. Again, we can reference the Austin Metcalf murder by Carmelo Anthony last month. What did they do? What about Zimmerman? What about Kyle Rittenhouse? What about Daniel Penny? A bunch of shit that has no bearing on his situation whatsoever. It's the same with Shedeur Sanders. What about Archie and Eli Manning? Apples and oranges. Apples and oranges. Peyton Manning at the time was the best quarterback in the league. And Eli, his little brother, was undeniably the best quarterback in college football. Okay? Also, Eli didn't constantly make a fool of himself in the media, and his father handled his affairs as discreetly as he could on draft day. Now, unlike the Sanders family, the Manning family had all the leverage in those negotiations. Okay? They had the juice. Shedeur has no leverage. Not through talent, not through personality, and not through necessity. Those are the three things that you need. He doesn't have any of them. And all this talk about him not willing to conform, are you niggas serious? Are you niggas serious? Since when do you go to a job interview and not code switch to secure your position? Since when? I was going back and forth with a couple guys on my job over this issue, right? And I know some of y'all watching. How you doing? I know you're watching. Let me ask you this. When you're trying to get promoted, right, on our job, do you not code switch at the assessment center? Do you not do your best to present yourself on that camera as someone who can be trusted to supervise a group of men and women to go on missions in life-threatening environments? Do you not? Yes, you do. The same goes for the NFL. These people are considering paying you tens and maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars. And you don't want to code switch? You want to keep it real? This is the stupidity that hip hop culture teaches subconsciously. Okay? Subconsciously. And as I've always said, back in the early 90s, when gangster rap was popularized, it subconsciously changed the psyche and priorities of black men in America. Okay? And to this day, we are still suffering from the consequences of that. Some of us are waking up. Some of us are waking up, but it's not enough. Clearly, it's not enough. Because you got grown ass men about to come to tears because their favorite college quarterback didn't get drafted in the first couple of rounds of the NFL draft. With all the shit going on in the world today, the one thing that woke you niggas up and got you niggas talking seriously online and not beefing with each other and not talking about drugs and murder and crime, the one thing that got you to be serious for 3 minutes was Shedeur Sanders not being drafted in the first 4 rounds of the NFL draft. Okay, that right there is a problem. Fellas, black men, it's reflection time. Okay? I know we have a great time when I get on here and I cook the women. That's always fun. But now it's time for self-reflection. Now it's time for self-reflection. We can't keep coming on here talking about what the women doing, how they doing this, how they doing that, when, to be honest with you, mentally we're just as screwed up. We keep saying accountability is kryptonite to women. Well, it's apparently it's kryptonite to black men too. If we're gonna keep it a buck. If we're gonna keep it a buck, it's kryptonite to us too. Cause can't none of you niggas give me one valid example or statistic on how the NFL is racist for not drafting Shedeur Sanders. You can't give me one. All you have is emotions, because that's what your mommy taught you to do. That's what your mommy taught you. That's hip hop culture. Hip hop culture is matriarchal. Think about it. All your best, and I'm rambling, but the hell with it. Let's get it. All your favorite artists. Think about all your favorite rap artists. Who raised these niggas? They mamas. Why is rap so heavily influenced by fashion? Because it's pioneered by, especially gangster rap, it's pioneered by niggas who was raised by their moms. Your mama is into fashion. Your mama gets her hair done, has long hair, braids and shit. Are y'all getting what I'm saying? Now, granted, we didn't fund hip hop, okay? We didn't fund gangster rap. So I give you that. We know who did that.
I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that.
For sure. We're not going to say that. However, at this point, we have to recognize that the psyche behind that poison music has turned us into our own worst enemy. And I'm not trying to act holier than thou, like I don't listen to rap music at times. Yes, of course I do. I'm a normal person. But I also recognize what the problem is. I recognize what needs to be cut out. It's the mentality, bro. I know grown ass men, almost 50 years old, that are janitors. You know what I'm saying? Niggas talking about I don't snitch and I don't do. Niggas, you've been listening to so much Scarface and UGK your whole life. You think that you an actual gang? Nigga, you a janitor, bro. If you see a crime, my nigga, report it, bro. It's okay, bro. If you see a crime, report it. You don't have to stick to the street code, bro. I'm laughing and shit, but it's really like that, y'all. It's really like that. It is really like that. But this is what I want to do. I was gonna close the show out, but what I want to do is I want to give you guys, anybody who wants to chime in, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put the link in the YouTube chat. So if you're not on YouTube, head over to YouTube so you can go to the chat and hit the link. I'm gonna put the link in the chat, and hit the link if you want to call in. What I'll do is I'll go to a brief commercial break, right? I'll go to a brief commercial break, and like I said, the link is in the chat. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Make sure I do this right. All right. Hopefully y'all can see that. The link is in the chat. Hit that link if you want to chime in. And what we'll do is we'll go to a quick commercial break. And we'll be right back. All right? All right. Let's get it.
Violent crime is surging in Louisiana. Woke leaders blame the police. I blame the criminals. A mom should not have to look over her shoulder when she's pumping gas. I voted against the early release of violent criminals, and I opposed defunding the police. Look, if you hate cops just because they're cops, the next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. I'm John Kennedy, and I approve this message.
What up, Council? I'm here to discuss artificial intelligence. AI is going to take all of our jobs and render us useless. And I, for one, am stoked. I hate jobs. I had a job once, and everyone there talked in weird voices. AI is going to 86 all of that. But we'll still need money. That is why I'm asking the government to step up and make sure we're breaded. We are proposing a small payment plan, or small PP, of $10G a month for every citizen so we can party and look hot and enjoy our free time. Now, we can't afford to just sit back and have AI bust through and not have a plan. We got to make sure people have food and houses so we can party and rage in peace. So instruct AI to pay all of us, and then you dudes can retire gracefully before you get replaced, and we'll see you at the beach. The bonfires will be epic. Everybody will be hot.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back from that brief commercial break, and I see we don't have any callers, and that is fine. That is fine. I think we had a good show. I think I said what needed to be said. And on that note, man, that's gonna be it for tonight. And just a reminder, if you're watching this show on the playback, do not forget to comment in the comment section below, okay? And also, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, remember to hit that notification bell twice and then select all, okay? And oh yeah, always remember, tripping ain't easy, but somebody's got to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, peace out. Catch you on the next one.